Welcome to the fifth episode of Between the Sticks. I'm your host, Lewis Walking Stick, and it's great to be here with you this afternoon. Today's the fifth episode of Between the Sticks, like I said, and I'd like to thank my tech crew, Gabe and Taylor, and Chase Long, and my family, my wife, Christy, and my boys for being encouragements. And I would like to congratulate Emma Martin from Sallisaw, a cheerleader from Sallisaw High School that made the 2025 Oklahoma Cheer Coaches Association East All-State cheerleading team. Now, two other Sallisaw cheerleaders, Paige Carlton and Delaney Compton, are also state alternates since they made the All-Region 3 cheerleading team a couple of weeks ago. Congratulations to all these young ladies for their accomplishments. Also, there was a cheerleader from Vian, Hallie Russell. She also made All-State. And I just want to congratulate all these young ladies for their accomplishments. We've got a great show today. We've got some video calls coming up with some county football coaches. Then we've got a coach from Western Oklahoma is going to be on for a video call. And then we'll have some reminiscing and storytelling with Coach Benson. So I hope you enjoy all of that. Welcome to Between the Sticks. We've got Central High's football coach, Jeremy Thompson, with us today. Coach Thompson, you guys had an excellent victory the other night. Tell us all about that.
We did. We came off, 3 games, where, we were on a 3-game losing streak going into it. And it was big that we needed that, it was 52. We ended up winning 52-6. Throughout the past 3 games, we had gotten better, but going in last Friday or Thursday night and cleaning up some mistakes, playing well on both sides of the ball, that was big for us to go in to the next 3 weeks where we have 3 big district games coming up, and so big momentum for us in our favor, and we're excited about this week.
You guys. You host Allen coming up this week, right?
Yes, sir.
And tell us about Allen.
Well, we're going to see the old flex bone. We don't see that a lot these days. If you watch Army, Navy, Air Force on TV, it's kind of what you're going to see. Georgia Tech, and so under center, you got 3 backs in the backfield. Just straight power football. It's going to be huge for our defensive line, outside linebackers, in secondary to be on their assignment. We've got to play assignment football this week and be very physical. So it's something you don't see a lot. I'm excited for it. It's an offense I ran actually in high school, so I'm very familiar with it. It's just the kids don't see it a lot now, and so a big week of preparation.
Coach, do they run just power out of it, or do they try to put the ball on the corner and run the option?
Well, yes, they're going to put the ball in the corner and run the option. There a lot of read option, but there's a lot of sweep. The one thing that we hadn't seen them do is run a lot of trap. You'd see a lot of fullback and quarterback trap off of it. That we haven't seen, and so there is what I would call a lot of old school load option that's going to come off of it. And so the quarterback's a good athlete. Reed Box is the coach at Allen this year. His son's the QB and does a good job running it. So they're a lot better than what they were last year.
I've noticed, I was looking at the standings in the district, and I don't know who all, I know who y'all have left to play. I don't know exactly who all everybody else has left to play. And I read the article in the paper you'd said talking about, you need to win out, or you need to go 3-1. Well, you got one of those victories the other night, to get making a move toward getting in the playoffs.
I really think, can't worry about points. You got to go win every Friday. And I know you want to, get your 15, and I know that can come into play at the end of the day on where we finish. But we need to stay in control of us, and come out
Hmm.
with a W the next 3 weeks. That's most important. Uh,
Right.
and that's what we can control. And so that's what we're going to do. And it's going to be one of those where we're not going to know till we come in week 10 in the locker room and see how everybody finished, besides us, to
Right.
see where we fall.
I see. I see. I
So
see.
it's going to be a tight race.
You got Allen, then tight race. You play Liberty, then you play at Gore, the last regular season game. So, um, that's when you want your big games. I noticed that, and another team I've noticed that has kind of made a move. Wowoka has kind of made a
They
move in
have.
the district compared to last year. Is that pretty accurate?
Yes, they've made a big move, and they're a lot better this year. I think they're sitting there at 5-1 now.
Hmm.
We've only got one district loss. Um, Allen was
Yeah.
one district loss. But us, Gore, Liberty, Regent, and Allen, are all still playing one another to finish out the year.
Right.
Um,
Right.
and you got though Tallahena back in the mix, and so you're looking, you know, anything can happen at this point. You know,
Yeah. That's right.
anything can happen, and so we just continue to get better, stay focused on what we need to do, and not
Yeah.
worry about all that. Uh,
That's right.
let let that just be what takes place, and us stay in control of us.
Well, that's exactly right. And that's a great deal that there's a lot of pivotal games coming up. Coach, you said you ran this flex bone offense in high school. Now, you're not going to get out there and be a scout team quarterback this week, are you?
Hey, I will say I might have a little fun tomorrow.
Yeah.
Uh,
Yeah.
it's not going to last long, Coach, but
Right.
I'll definitely get out there and have to play some
Put
scout
the
team
ball in
this
the
week.
corner one time, you need a break.
I'll need a break. Yeah, they better have the
Yeah.
water handy.
Right. Right. Well, we wish you all the luck. And this way it's supposed to be here, late October and into November. Big games and pivotal games. And Jeremy, wish you all the luck. And thanks for being with us this Sunday afternoon. And we'll talk. We'll talk. It'll be a couple of weeks. We're going to start going every other
Okay.
week. So it'll be, I guess, that first Sunday in November we talk to you again.
Okay,
Okay.
Coach, that sounds good.
Okay. Thanks for being with us, Jeremy. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
This is Between the Sticks. I'm Lewis Walking Stick. This is episode 5, and I've got Gary Hickson, the head football coach of the Gans Grizzlies here in Sequoyah County. And Coach Hickson, great to have you on the podcast.
Well, thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
You bet. You bet. We're very glad to have you. You're in a 5-team district, aren't you? I mean, I just
16, yes.
is that correct, Gary?
Well, it's
16
technically
district. Okay.
16, but since Wesleyan Christian is not playing, we are 5, yes.
Okay. Okay. I noticed that because that Wesleyan Christian game you're not going to play it. Yeah, week
No,
9,
we're
I
not playing.
believe.
Yeah. They
Okay.
forfeited,
Okay.
and so we're done with them.
Okay. Okay. And you guys played Copan a couple of days ago.
Yeah,
And
Thursday night.
tell us about that game, Gary.
Oh, Copan's they finished second in our district last year. They're a very talented team. They're very senior heavy. Uh, they can run the ball. They play action pass very well. They just made some big plays on us and big played us to death.
I see. You guys, your next game is at Wilson Henrietta.
Yes,
Uh,
another
tell us
great
about
team.
Wilson Henrietta.
Oh my gosh, they are very fast, very strong and athletic. I watched film on them a while ago with Savannah, and between the two teams, they scored 172 points, and the final score ended up being 88-84 or something like that. And the thing with Wilson only had 8 players. and to go down the wire like that, and probably should have beat Savannah. They're just a incredible football team.
Coach, tell me about your coaching staff. I've got I had the list of their names here. Goodness sakes, I had you all scattered out in the preseason. How many assistants do you have?
I have three. I'm fortunate enough to have three. Brian Morton is he was the former head coach before I got here. He is now he acts as our defensive coordinator, and then Aaron Denny, who just got back into teaching this year. He's an assistant, and then Jameson Henry, who's a graduate here from Gans about 4 or 5 years ago. He is another assistant that I'm lucky enough to have at an 8-man school.
The 8-man football, is different. I worked with a guy at Claremore back in '97 named Dennis Casey, who won a lot of games in 8-man football at Morrison. And you've been around 11-man, you've been around 8-man. Tell us, you as a coach coaching it and everything, what's the differences between them?
Well, I mean, other than the field being a little different, a little more condensed, if you got speed kills an 8-man. It's like basketball on grass. If you got anybody who can get out to the edge and outrun somebody, that's a great advantage you have over like somebody like us, because we have some talented kids, but we don't have the speed like Wilson does, or like Copan does, or even when it comes to Weber Falls. In 11-man, when I coached it, I always loved I was the 3-yard and a cloud of dust guy. I mean, offensive line coach, that's what I love to do. And here you can't live and die off that, because if you live and die off that, you're going to get beat a lot. And and then of course, the lack of depth on a 8-man team sometimes can be incredibly low. Like last year, we started off with 17 kids. We finished off with 11. We were bitten by the injury bug bad last year. And this year so far, we're lucky. We've had a couple of injuries, but we still have 19 kids on the roster, and all of them are still available to us, which I'm thankful for. But as far as 11, man,
that's good numbers.
Yeah, for us it is. But we're still a very, very young football team. I always like telling this story because it's interesting to me. This is team 27 here at Gans. So 27 years ago, they had their first team. Within 5 years, Coach Holt had them playing for a gold ball, and they finished runner-up in 2003 in Class C. And I've always I've been amazed by that fact. From starting a program from year 1 to playing for a championship in year 5. And that's something that Gans used to be known as a tough-nosed football team, and that's what we're trying to get back to. And that's why I kind of took this job, is because as a coach, you always think you can get back to where it was glory, and that's what we're here for.
I
just think Coach Holt has just Coach Holt's amazing coach when it comes to 8-man, and I've learned a lot from him as well, as far as the difference between the 8-man and 11-man, and he said you could always use your 8-man. And the late great Wayman Potts always told me, he goes, you can use your 11-man philosophies and bring them to 8-man, but you can't hardly do it the other way around.
Okay. So the field's smaller, but it's still tough to play defense.
It is.
But
very
hence
tough
the
to play
big
defense.
Scores, the high. Right. I got you.
Yes.
I'm getting the picture now. I'm getting the picture.
Yeah.
And
it's
well, I know it's a different. Yeah.
Yeah. Without speed, like we opened up this past week. Play 1, Copan goes 65 yards on a lead, basically, and scores a touchdown. Well, we answer them on the next possession we have. First play, we go 65 ourselves, and that's the only scoring we did. But it's just if you get out of place just a little bit, it can cost you a lot. And as far as defense goes and stuff like that, it's just of course, if you get down by 45 at halftime, after that it's over with. But because of the mercy rule and 8-man, but you'll see some wild scores. Like that, like I was talking about, the 88, 84. I think Weber and Wilson a couple weeks ago went 64-44 as well, and just a lot of scoring.
I see. Well, Coach, thank you for being with us this afternoon. It'll be the first Sunday in November 2nd, I believe, before you and I video call again. Okay. And I wish you all the luck. You got another game, then you got an off week, and then you've got game 10. And I wish you all the luck, and you guys finish the season strong. Okay, Gary?
All right. Well, I appreciate it, Coach. I thank you for everything.
You betcha. You betcha. We'll talk to you in a couple of weeks. Thank you very much.
All right. Thank you.
Good evening, everyone. And I'm Craig Benson, and I'm here with Lewis Walkenstick on his podcast, Between the Sheets. And we have a very special guest tonight, Brad Ballard, the head coach of the Tuttle Tigers. Coach, I recognize that office just a little bit. I remember that back wall behind you there.
Are you sure? It's a different building now.
Oh, that's right. Same paint. Must be. That's what threw me off.
No, colors don't change much, man. You know that. Yeah. It's been a while, huh?
It has been. It has been. First thing we're gonna send you a blizzard of questions tonight.
Come on, I'm ready, guys. I'm done for the day.
Lou's been practicing now for about 4 days on these questions. But we're gonna back up a little bit. We're gonna talk about about you. We're gonna take a walk down memory lane.
That'd be fun.
You're a graduate of Claremore High School, son of legendary coach Benny Ballard, who had a tremendous career there coaching at Claremore, and Lou followed in his footsteps. And so you left Claremore, you went to you were at Ketchum or Jay, where was it? You were in northeast Oklahoma somewhere.
Well, I had a cup of coffee playing ball at Central Missouri, Division II. Then I came back and worked at Oklahoma State a little bit for Coach Jones and then Coach Simmons' first year. And then my first job was with Dale Patterson at NEO back in 1997. And I worked for Dale for 2 years at NEO. And I worked for a guy named Greg Gregory at Missouri Southern in Joplin for 1 season. And then married my wife, who was a high school basketball coach. And we spent time at, Jay, Ketchum, Miami, Lincoln Christian School in Tulsa for 8 years. And then I've been here 12. This is my 12th season at Tuttle.
And you took over from my buddy Phil Coons, correct?
That's right. The legend. Now, you talk about a legend. That's the legend right there.
I'm telling you, I had two sons that played for him. I had a daughter who was a cheerleader on his last few years there. Phil's a good friend of mine. He did amazing things there at Tuttle. And the only thing you've done is just take this to another level. So,
well, I don't know about that. It was important to us when we got here to carry on the same stuff that Coach Coons did. I mean, I have nothing but respect for him, and the success that he had here was part of the reason this job was attractive to me. When I was at NEO, we got to come here and recruit a couple of his kids, specifically Matt Henson, and then remained good friends with that family for a long time. And, Crockett Ladd came to NEO as well, and kids like that, I'd seen what this place was and the toughness that these kids had, and I was looking forward to trying to uphold the standard that Coach Coons built here. And if we can make it better, we can make it better. But it was important to me that he always feels included and knows how thankful I am and how appreciative all of us are for all the things that he did here.
I got a question for you. My first question is, do you guys still run 4-4-4s?
No.
Okay, because that was a big deal back in the day, I don't know what anybody talks about that.
What is 4-4-4s?
4-4s is let me see if I get this right. Every day after practice, our kids would run 4 gassers, 4 full gassers, 4 half gassers,
Okay.
and then 4 sprints.
Okay. That's a
You know,
lot.
oh,
Yeah.
I'm telling you, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
Hey, Brad.
No,
It's been a while.
we don't do
I
it that
remember
much anymore.
Yeah. I remember meeting you in 1994 when I came to Claremore, and I was a lot younger and more skinnier and all that, and had a great time at Claremore with Steve Patterson and all those guys,
Yes.
and I know you remember all them guys. And Coach, and I talked to Craig about this. What's it like coaching and living there and competing in that Tri-City area with Newcastle and Blanchard, just so close? That's always fascinated me.
There's been a lot of good football here, and everybody's pretty successful in all their programs. Highly competitive, of course. We feel like it's an advantage to us because we get to play them, and Newcastle's in 5A now, so it's not district play anymore.
Yeah.
But we still play them non-district. They've been really, really good, and it's just natural rivalries, and that's what high school football is all about, right? I mean, those Friday nights are special Friday nights. Our kids are up for it. The student section's way ready for it. And, we get a chance to play Blanchard this week, and our kids were dialed in today, ready to go for it. So it's a unique atmosphere. Bridge Creek's right here too, and they're 4A now. So, there's a bunch of us right here and a lot of good athletes. And, you go a little bit further than that, Washington's right out there. I mean, there's a lot of good ball being played around here.
We were talking a while ago about how the size of the classifications of the schools, when Craig's kids were going to school at Tuttle, it was a 2A school, right? That's what you said.
That's right.
Now you are 4A, and just a lot of people have moved in there, and
well, here's what I don't think.
Spot.
Here's what I don't think anybody understands is really the proximity of all of those schools. So you take Mustang, okay? Mustang's a 6A school. They're right across the Canadian River. What would you say? 4 miles, 5 miles from Tuttle?
Oh yeah, I mean it's 8 from the highway to Mustang, middle of Mustang. You could be anywhere you want over there in 20 minutes, probably.
Exactly.
Then you leave the airport and you get on 152 there, and you're Mustang, Tuttle. I mean, Yukon's right. I mean, you don't know where Mustang ends and Yukon begins anymore. So everything's just growing. I mean, there's a lot of people that want to get out of Oklahoma City but be close to Oklahoma City. So, we feel like we're in a good spot. We've got a lot of people in our community that care about our programs, and we've got resources. We've built new facilities around here the past 5 or 6 years. So, we just have a lot of people that care. And if you live in a community that cares, it sure makes high school athletics a special thing.
Well, I've always said it takes 3 things to have a successful program. Hang on just a second, Coach. But I've always said there were 3 things that you needed to have a successful program. It doesn't matter what sport it is, but you got to have a community that expects it. You got to have an administration that understands that and is willing to give you what you need to be successful. And then you have to have a team of players and coaches that understand both sides of that are willing to do what it takes to please both of those. And I think that Tuttle, when you talk about Scott Moore being your superintendent, ex-AD, ex-baseball coach, pitched at a high level at OU, came back home, had a very successful career as an AD. And then you've got Matt Serber, who's your high school principal, and his record is, we don't even want to get into that, how successful he is. And then we've got you that came in and understood all that and put all these pieces together, and it's carried on that legacy from Phil Coons. That's a good concoction for success.
You're right about the things that have to be in place. And, my dad was on my case forever. I was an assistant coach for a long time, and he always said, hey, when are you going to try to get a head coaching job? And I said, well, Dad, I'm not going to go anywhere until I think I have something or have a chance at something that's special. And, I was really fortunate growing up. I grew up in a small town in Northeast Oklahoma. Hominy, Oklahoma is where I spent most of my childhood. My dad coached there, was a part of 3 state championships. And, everybody played every sport. My two seventh grade coaches were both Hall of Fame coaches, and Danny Daniels and my dad, and guys like Russell Hull were on his staff with him, and Gary Quimby,
Oh,
and
yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, Ron Harmon. You talk about all the guys I
Yeah.
got to be around as a kid. I mean, those were some characters and just larger than life. And, you know, I spent my summers at Coach's Clinic around guys like Ron Etheridge and his family. And just, I was so blessed and fortunate to be around so many good coaches. And, you know, if I got a little bit from each one of them, I thought that was awesome. But I told Dad, I'm never taking a head coach's job unless it reminds me a little bit of Hominy. And he said, son, there's none of those left anymore. And then I called him one day and I said, Dad, I'm applying for the job at Tuttle. And he said, I don't know anyone out there. And I said, I don't want you to know anyone out there. I know somebody out there. I want to go see what it's about. And man, we're so fortunate that it worked out. And we have the ingredients in place. It's a place where hard work still lives. It's a place where blue collar still lives. It's a place I can be myself as a coach and not always looking over my shoulder because you're supported by your athletic director and principal and superintendent. And, you know, it's just such a unique place. And we've got a good program going and we've got a good run of kids right now. And, man, I'm so thankful for all of it. But, you know, I don't know that anything ever happens by chance. I think it just kind of lined up and it was one of those lucky deals. But, you know, I just, anytime somebody starts talking about what has to be in place, I think I learned all that in Hominy America back in the day. And all my brothers in Osage County, you know, it was a great place to grow up. And I was just so fortunate to get to be around good coaches. And then my high school coaches, I mean, Coach Stick talked about some of them, you know. David Garut was one of my coaches in junior high and high school. And gosh, just so many. Paul Hoka, Ed McGee.
Paul Hocut.
Yeah.
So let's change directions a little bit here, and let's talk about all four of these districts in 4A. Okay. Now I know you're not going to have you have a lot of knowledge about your district and District 4A1, but it looks like to me that, you know, if somebody gave everybody truth serum and you said, okay, how's this thing going to play out? You know, Elgin's front runner, you know, state runner-ups in 4A last year, and they're leading to 4A1. Then you've got Weatherford, Clinton, and I don't know who's going to end up in that fourth spot. But in your district, you know, you're leading your district, and then you've got behind you. It looks like there's a hunt for those next three spots with Blanchard, Bethany, and Ardmore. So, you know, I think Bethany already beat Blanchard, but Ardmore beat Bethany, and then you've got Hera. That I guess Hera's second in your district right now, correct?
Yes, it looks that way. And you know, we play them week 10. So if we both remain, you know, undefeated until that time, it would be a week 10 matchup for the district championship.
Okay, and then we go to 4A3, and I know that everybody keeps up with everybody's district. Don't kid yourself. Everybody knows where everybody is, and you know there's Cushing Grove and Fort Gibson, and it looks like who may be the fourth. I don't know who the fourth is going to be in that. You know, there's a toss up in fourth, and then our district, who we feel like is probably top to bottom. There's more parity in our district than there is anywhere else. When you have Ada, Salisaw, Broken Bow, Podo, and Hilldale, and you know, we're you know, we have Podo this week. That's gonna put those district standings it's gonna align them better. And then the week after that, we have, you know, the Black Diamonds have Stillwell, and then we go to we have Ada at home. And you know, Broken Bow still has Podo, and they still have Ada. So there's a lot of work left in this district and how that's going to shake out. But I really feel like that once everybody gets in that district, once it gets in the playoffs, how the playoff lines out, any one of our teams from our district has a chance to win that first round matchup. Right. That's how we feel. Now we're homers. We get it. We know it.
Yeah,
okay?
We're homers. Yeah.
You're supposed to be.
And we think we can go 4-0 against that district up north.
We really do.
You know.
We do. And but with that said, you know, it should be a balance of 2 and 2. You know, these top 2 move on and so on and so forth. But with that said, that puts you that crossover game. Our second place team in our district is probably going to catch you. Isn't that the way the district sets up?
I think so. I'm the world's worst to ask about this because I don't look. I try to live in a little bubble here. Worry about what I can take care of.
That's right. No, you're right. You're right. No, I've watched your videos and some of your videos and your process and I think it's great. You know, just worry about yourself and all that and get better. Coach, I want to ask you a question about. Do y'all have goals like? I mean, I know winning and losing is the main thing, but do y'all have goals like that your guys have to maintain no matter what the score is? Like, by golly, you're not gonna allow that opposition's offense to have so many certain yards per carry average on you. Y'all have goals like that
no,
throughout?
We don't.
Okay.
We don't, I mean, Coach. We don't. And I've worked at places that do, and man, there sure is some merit to some of it. I just you know, for us, and something we try to do is cut all the extra and all the fluff out of our program. We worry about our process and how we're practicing and what we're doing Sunday through Thursday. And man, we live and die by it. And you know, I know there's merit to it. I mean, the kids were mad the other night because we gave up a touchdown the last 3 plays of the game.
Right.
Well, you know, I mean, I'll tell them and I'll tell anybody. I don't care if someone scores on us. I mean, we emptied the bench as fast as we could empty the bench, and the clock was running. And you know, it's more important for us to try to develop young players and keep this program rolling in the future than it is to stop someone on this Friday night. I mean, we got to get guys in the game anytime we get a chance. So those kind of goals, you know, for some people they might be important. For us, we haven't ever done that.
Right, I hear you. No, I was just curious about that. And you talked about it's important that we evaluate ourselves. How do you know that's the $1 million question. How does a person honestly, it's hard to do, to really absolutely evaluate yourself, you know, and to look at the good, the bad, and the ugly. You know what I'm saying?
It's got to start at the top. I mean, it's got to start with me. And if I make a mistake, or when I make a mistake, not if, when I make a mistake, I mean, you've got to be human to the kids as well, right? I mean, if I mess something up, I've got to say to them, listen, I was wrong. I messed that up, you know. And then in turn, when they mess up, I can say, hey, look, you were wrong. This is how we're going to fix it. And I mean, every week we'll do that with each other, especially on Sundays. It starts with the staff that doesn't carry an ego through the door. It starts with guys that walk in and know none of us care whose idea something is. We just want Tuttle to do the best Tuttle can do.
What do y'all? You guys take Saturday off during a regular
who gets
weekend.
Credit for anything. We do. You know, with Tuttle and everybody having a laptop, they do their work at home, and we get together as a staff on Sunday after church, and we throw all of our ideas out there. And I've got a little worksheet that we go through, and I'll ask questions about Friday night, and then in turn I ask them for their suggestions. You know, or like last week, the OU Texas game at the end of the first half. I mean, we discussed that for 15 minutes. Like, what's right, what's wrong, how would we handle it, how does it fit our personnel? You know, so any situation that any of us see over the weekend, we try to bring that with us, and we'll go through those things and just try to have some open communication. I mean, you guys know this. You know how fast crap flies on a Friday night. I mean, I would like to have those things talked about and discussed before we ever hit the field.
I got you. Craig?
Well,
continue. Well, I'm sorry for it. Did I break your train of thought?
No, not at all.
On the
districts? We're you know, here's the thing. No, I think we're finished on that.
The districts.
Yeah, I think we've covered the district. But anyway, here's my next question. I know you don't want to. I know how selfish you are, and you don't want to talk about a lot of people, but we've got to talk about Cruz Campbell. You know, your quarterback who who had 40 touchdown passes last year and had only had 3 interceptions. And I think I looked at the stat earlier, and he has 20 touchdowns currently and only 1 interception. So let's talk about that process of how you develop that. I mean, that's an incredible stat that he has. So I'm assuming that he's a great leader. He's going to fall in line with, you guys have a Heisman Trophy winner at quarterback there at your school, and you go through the years, you've had a number of really good ones. Okay, so where does he fit in that process?
He's just another in a long line of
he is
total quarterbacks.
He is another in a long line of total quarterbacks.
He's thrilled to be that.
Yeah,
I bet he's thrilled to be that guy.
But let's talk about his process of growing and how he's done as a leader on your football team.
Well, from the first day Cruz came here, Cruz and his family moved out here about halfway through his sophomore year, Christmas. They moved to Tuttle, and it's funny. His first day here was a Thursday, and on Thursdays we do what we call finishers in the weight room in the mornings. We all lift before school, just like Coach Coons did back in the day, but we do finishers, and it's a day where I'm usually blowing the whistle and stuff's flying, and I'm not in a very good mood usually, and they're being pushed. And I looked at him and I said, "Hey, brother, this is your day one. I don't know if you're ready for this. I don't know if you want to jump in this." And his reply said, "Coach, I'm all the way in. Let's go." And from that day forward, he's first in the line in anything we do, whether it be our prehab work, our hurdles, hips, all that stuff. He's always the first, last one to leave. I mean, he is just a student of the game. He loves to play football. He's changed his body completely in the past year, just another year in the weight room, and how important that is to a young man's development. And he knows that. He's worked really hard on his feet. But his mind is what makes him different. He studies and he knows what he's looking at. And the thing that I love about him the very most is he's not greedy. If you give high school kids the opportunity to run the ball or throw the ball in a double call situation, I know how my greedy butt would have been back in high school. I'll be throwing that sucker. But he's not like that. He knows what we want him to do with the ball, and he'll hand it off. He just controls everything, and he's got a very, very quiet, calm demeanor about him that I love. I think he'd probably be an excellent poker player. You don't ever know what he's thinking until he really wants to say it. And on the field, if you'll watch him, he'll come off the field and he's the first one to go sit with Coach Shoup and get on the iPad and want to correct mistakes. So, man, he's hungry to learn. He's hungry to improve. I just think he's as good as it gets. Now, where does he fit with Jason White and all that? I'm only going to repeat what I've heard from old timers around here. And I don't think he's as athletic as Jason was. Of course, Jason was probably as good of a safety as he was a quarterback from what I've seen and heard.
True.
But I think a pure passer, I think Cruz can make all the throws that any of them could in high school.
Coach, the one last question for me. I don't want your first play against Blanchard, but do you guys script your offense starting the game?
We have a list of first down plays that we like. Now you know this, and I know this. Where you get the ball is gonna change that thing.
Yeah,
and
situational. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, we're situational with what we're going to call.
Yeah.
Last year especially, we saw a bunch of junk defense. We would play someone and they would do something that they haven't done before and give you the 3-high look and, kind of the Iowa State looking stuff with the high safeties. And, you just we got to kind of decipher what we're getting and then go from there. So, I would say, yeah, we have an idea, but we're going to do something safe probably early, unless we just think we have a matchup. We played a game in the playoffs last year, and they walked out with a new corner and manned up with probably our fastest guy. And we were like, okay, and we changed it and got a big home run to start the game. So
I got you.
We listen, our offense, we want to attack every blade of grass. We don't care. If it's 5 yards, 10 yards, 50 yards, 4 yards, whatever a defense is going to give, we're going to try to take, and we're going to go be aggressive doing it. And defensively, we're just the opposite as far as we're going to attack every blade of grass and try to defend it all. And I will tell you this, we're going to be aggressive no matter what we do. Special teams, we're going to be aggressive. We are going to try to threaten the entire field all the time. And that's how we practice. That's how we play. And that's what we'll continue to do.
Good luck to you, Coach. Craig, you got any more questions?
No, I'm good. Coach Ballard, I appreciate you taking time out on a busy Sunday night and coming and visiting with us. Two retired guys that have nothing else to do on a Sunday. We really certainly do appreciate that.
Guys. I want to know who the best quarterback at Sallisaw High School ever. Who was it?
Ooh.
Well,
man,
he's got one state championship.
Wells, he's going to say it was Matt
Bill
Wells.
Sheriff's got one, and if that's how you judge him, you know.
But statistically speaking,
I don't know who it is
those two guys don't line up with Matt Oversee and Ben Oversee and Chris Sharp. You know, there's been a number through here, and I just keep working my way out of that record book every single year. And we've got a good one right now in Case Adams. We really like him, you know.
We got to coach Matt Oversee and Ben Oversee, you know.
Yeah, so we're partial to those guys. And Quint Scofus, too. We liked him, you know.
Case Adams is doing a good job for the Diamonds right now. He's a very good quarterback.
And he's only thrown 3 interceptions this year himself. I mean, he had excellent. 2 at prior early in the year, and then he threw one actually last Friday night against Glenpool. But we like what he's doing. We've watched him grow up, and you know, he's the only quarterback in Salisaw's history that's, as a sophomore, that's ever won a playoff game. So there's a stat in itself, you know. And so, anyway, to answer that question, that's a tough one, and I can't tell you who the best one is. So
we're wondering why we weren't cast in the Bruce Springsteen movie. That's what we're wondering.
I haven't seen it yet, so I don't know.
We can't figure out why we weren't cast in that.
Oh, man. Well, you know,
what we need to do sometime is sit down and tell some Phil Coons and Greg Henning stories someday. I see Lou doesn't understand about those two guys. You know, two of the most.
I got a little dose of Phil Coons at Oil Bowl.
We actually picked the Oil Bowl team.
Yeah.
In that office over there by the old wrestling room at Tuttle in 2010.
211.
211.
Or no, 210, December. It was early. It was right before Christmas, 210. And I knew something was different about Tuttle when I walked in there 2 days before Christmas. And there were kids wanting to come in and work out in the weight room. I knew that was a different place.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. And, you know, here's the thing. It's not just football. It's not just wrestling. It's not just baseball. It's not just golf. It's not, you know, I tell you what, their ag program is as good as there is. And so, you know, you guys have captured lightning in a bottle there in a lot of different ways. And you know, the thing about it is everybody's going to be jealous because of all the success you've had. But, you know, I didn't even mention girls softball. I mean, look at what they've done, you know. And so, you know, like I said, your administration has a lot to do with that. You go back to, you know, and I don't remember pre-Lee Coker, but Lee Coker was one of the founding fathers that got everything going and got that thing in going in the right direction. And he had a great understanding of what the mission was for and he was always about every program, no matter where it came from, being successful.
Yeah, I've heard nothing but great things, and I love Mr. Coker. I got to meet him when I moved here. He lives in Stillwater now.
True.
And a little bit retired, but we love Lee and his family, and we've got great support. I mean, like, you know, if you want a place where your kids can be successful and have a chance to compete at a high level in every sport, in every program, in every part of a school, I don't know why you wouldn't be in Tuttle. I mean, and I'm partial, just like you guys are. I'm a homer, but I mean, I moved my whole family out here. We've been here 12 years, and I haven't regretted it one time. I mean, the things my son got to be a part of as a Tuttle Tiger, you can't replace. And my daughter's just now getting into high school. She'll be a junior this year. So she plays basketball here. My wife coaches basketball here now. So, I mean, we're all in, and it's all day, every day. And it's just one of those places where people work hard. We talk about it as a team a lot. We have to be a direct reflection of our community, and our community is blue collar. And that's what we really try to be. And I'm very, very proud of them. Guys, I could go on and on for hours, but I was so excited when you guys called me the other day. When I think about people in the coaching world and ties and people that I wouldn't mind sitting down and talking with and listening to, you guys are two of them, and have tons of respect for you guys. And your coach at Sallisaw, Brandon Tyler, I would consider him one of the best, and just love everything about him and always have, and want him to win every game but one, and that's if we play. So, I just appreciate you guys, and I think that coaches and coaches' families are really special people, and especially in this state. And when we talk about Sallisaw, I can't help but think about Ron Etheridge, and he and my dad served on the board together, and every coach's clinic I got to talk to Coach Etheridge, and their whole family, just good people. And man, I'm just so thankful, guys. Yeah. I appreciate it.
His grandson ran for 2 touchdowns last Thursday night at Southern Nazarene. Yeah. Ron sent me the video. Yeah.
That's so awesome. Well, make sure you tell him hi for me, would you please?
I will. I sure will. He'll see this. He watches the podcast. He loves it.
Well, hey, here's what I want you to do for me. Here's what I want you to do for me tomorrow, okay? I want you to go take Matt Serber and Scott Moore, pull their bottom lips over the top of their head, punch them, and tell them it came from Craig Benson.
There ain't no way I'm touching Serber like that. He'll tie me up in the knot, boy. Ain't no way. Now, I think I can outrun Scott,
Coach,
but I can't get away from Serber.
Thank you very much for being on this.
Thank you, guys, man. I appreciate your time.
This has been a lot of fun.
Hey, this is Between the Sticks. That's our 5th episode with my good lifelong friend Craig Benson. I'm Lewis Walking Stick, and we just got finished talking to Coach Brad Ballard from Tuttle High School. They're the favorite to win 4A, right, Coach?
There's
no doubt.
They are.
No doubt.
I mean, anybody that doesn't say that really kind of it's pipe dream. I mean, they're defending state champions from last year, and and they're well on their way right now.
Yeah.
And so it's theirs to lose.
Yeah. And they've got, of course, they got a bullseye on them, and so they wake up every morning with a pulse in their calf.
But here's the deal: if we knew who was going to win it,
that's right.
We just engrave their name on the trophy and ship it out and save everybody the gas money. That's why you lace them up.
A lot of big football games. The Black Diamonds, our team, and we're homers for the Black Diamonds. The Black Diamonds go to Poto Friday night, big game.
Yep. That's going to put into position a lot of the playoff scenarios. And we talk about that, during our telecast on Friday nights.
Yeah.
We follow the other scores and But if Sallisaw goes to Poto and wins Friday night, it puts them with a taking care of business the next week of Stillwell. It puts them in a showdown with Ada for the district championship, like we had last year.
Right.
But Ada's got to come to our place.
Right. A while ago, Coach Ballard brought up the deal about quarterbacks, and we wanted to follow that up.
I go all the way back to Paul Carlisle. Paul Carlisle was a quarterback back in the late 60s, and then you go to John Duty, and then you go to Steve Davis, and then you go to I think it's Randy Wheeler, and then on to
what year I'm
kind of in the early 70s now.
Okay.
And then you go to
Brett Van Zant was
Brett Van Zant, right? Who's now a cardiologist in Stillwater. And then you go to
Chris Hensley, Craig Benson,
right? Neil Sherham,
then
Grant Rhodes,
and
then and then Keith Barenberg.
Mm-hmm.
And then, Simon K-State, another good one. There's a lot of guys in there. You talk about the history of this school as far as quarterbacks go. And then you move on into the 90s with Scotty Bethel, late 80s, early 90s.
Uh-huh.
And
Matt Wells was right before.
And he was right after Scotty. He took over for Scotty.
Yeah, he took over for Scotty.
And then you go to Luke Wells, and then Randon Lowe, and then you go to Chris Sharp, and then you move into the modern era.
Joe Hogan was right after Chris Sharp.
Oh, there you go.
He went to a finals in 2001.
And he also, went to K-State, had a great career at Northeastern State after that. And then you've got, I'm leaving somebody out. Dave Martin. Dave Martin's, he was in there for a year.
Uh-huh.
And then you go to, after Hogan, then it was,
Hogan was
you got
into
oh, wait a minute.
A Wilson kid.
Okay.
A Wilson kid possibly in the.
Well, then you got Jason Bartell, and then Oberste, and then Ben Oberste.
We had Oberste's for
Quint
4, 5, 6 years. Quint Scofus.
Right. And then you've got. And then I left. You got to kind of take over from there. You had Brad Bell. There was somebody in between Brad.
We were
Bell.
lucky to get Brad Bell in 2016. We had Quint, then Brad Bell. Then we had a youngster. They moved him from another state, maybe Utah. I can't remember his name. I apologize. And then we're back into 218, 219 by the end.
Yeah. So, but you go through that record book and you see
Jackson McTire.
Yeah, there you go. Jack, who's on our staff?
He's in the record book.
Yeah.
Jackson McTire is very high up in the record book.
That's right.
Yeah.
And then,
I just did a trivia question a while ago for Friday night's broadcast about offensive lineman grade outs. So that's right. I'm not really thinking about quarterbacks.
I think the one that, I still know the one that I don't know where he is that owns that record. I know who you're talking about though. And
Barry Poole does too.
Barry Poole knows every record.
The other day.
Did you?
Yeah, I went to the lumberyard.
I get it.
Barry Poole.
There's not we haven't stumped him yet.
He wouldn't admit to doing what we accused him of.
Right. Yeah, he told me that.
But he, so you've talked to him since.
Oh,
yeah. I got some good information, and I got Barry Poole fixed up. He's going to be happy with what I did.
But that's a good thing about that trivia question each and every Friday night, because there are a lot of people that look forward to that, and there's a lot of labor on your part that goes into that, figuring out how you're going to stump somebody. And I don't know that we've had one night other than where the football field was initially located, wherever that happened.
Right.
But we in this we're talking about you brought up those quarterbacks, and then and then we kind of got off track with this segment about reminiscing stories, because last week we told some really good ones, and we could sit here for hours upon hours and tell stories. I want to ask you a question.
It's very popular. You got a lot of feedback from people.
I did. But let me ask you this one.
Yeah.
And I'm going to we haven't pre-discussed this.
No, we haven't.
There's everybody says that when you coach that you make an impact on kids. There's also kids that make impacts on you. Okay. So you go through your career and you look back and you go, okay, who are those ones that made an impact on you? You know what I mean? Yeah. It may not have been your best players. Right. It was some kids that got an opportunity to play, made the most of it. Kids who had some struggles and overcame those struggles and then got an opportunity and made the most of it. So I'm gonna throw that at you right now.
Wow, Coach.
Who are some of the guys that made impacts on you?
No, that's a tough one. There's a lot of them. Boy, that's a tough one. I'd leave somebody out.
And I'm going to leave somebody. I'm sure because there's too many of them. Yeah. But I go back to I'll tell you some names. Aaron Fulbright. He's a kid that made an impact on me. He was, you look over the years, kids that were small, kids that were undersized, kids that they don't have their name in the All-State book or whatever the case may be. But I'll tell you the story. We were at Wagner. Aaron was a kid that always wanted to. If we needed somebody to go run through a fence, he'd go do that, or a wall, or or
go stock block somebody.
Yeah. And we're playing Wagner in 2008, and he puts himself in the game. just jumps in the game, and it's 3rd and 8, I think.
Uh-huh.
And somebody goes, "What is Fulbright doing in the game?" Because we thought we had a personnel setting for this person, this time. And I said, "No, I'll leave him in there." And the overseer throws a spear in between and hits him right between those numbers he wore.
Yeah,
and he catches it for a big first down that kept the drive alive. And I think at the time we were up 7-3,
big
something like that.
Game.
At Wagner,
208, our first year here.
We're gonna play for the district championship.
Yeah.
And so anyway,
huge football. game.
And then after that, they're like, somebody wanted to sub him and on and on and on. I go, no, leave him in there. No.
Right.
And Aaron's a kid that he found his way. Those are the kind of stories that really made an impact on me. Tell you another one was Tyler Morris. Tyler Morris didn't play a year.
Yep.
And he came out. We got some guys hurt, and and Tyler was not physically not as gifted as what you would think.
Yeah.
But we got a lot of mileage out of him. I told him one day in practice, I said, "You're the reason why I coach. You guys like you're the reason why I coach."
He came out and I remember him. I've seen him a few times, and I know what you're talking about.
And his name was actually something else.
Right.
We caught it on a roster one time, and his name at school was something else.
Yeah.
And we're like, who is this guy? He's on the football team. Yeah.
That kid, he wanted so bad to play and to contribute to that football team.
Yeah, and did.
And really did at center. A hard place to play.
Yeah.
Shotgun snapping and then having to block. Usually somebody that's just a wild maniac on defense, playing nose guard,
Right.
And he really did. He wanted to do it so bad.
Here's another,
and he did.
Yeah. Here's another stat. I would like to know how many brother combinations I coached when we were here.
Yeah.
From 2008, 2013, we had a lot of brother combinations. We had, we had the Overseas, we had the Glads, we had the Elys, we had the Fitzsimmons.
We had two Fitzsimmons at the same time.
Yeah. Trevor and Jake.
Yeah.
And it took me a year to figure out which one was which.
Yeah.
And finally Steinberg told me, Jake is 8. It's Jake and 8. And he was number 48. The other one, I don't know what the other was. I could always figure out. Trevor was the other one.
Yeah.
Davenport's.
Walking sticks.
There you go. See, now you're bringing up some
Elys.
I already said those.
Yes. At least a 6 or 7.
And the you talk about the Davenports. Jeremy Davenport, sophomore, breaks his ankle against Webster. And I try to pull him out. He won't come out of the game.
I remember when that happened.
Yeah.
In game 10 at Webster.
Game 10 at Webster.
1.
Yeah. And it's a throwaway. I mean, it's a we're just going to go there and play and get it over with.
Yeah.
And he breaks his ankle.
Yeah.
And he spends the rest of the time in a boot in the playoffs. But tried to play and anyway, and then Jaden, you go back to we're playing Poto out here. We get a bad penalty on Jaden. I'll never forget this too. This is another Jaden story. But Jaden gets the front collar of the kid on Poto on 4th and 1. They go for it at midfield. It's going to turn the game around. Jaden grabs his collar and they throw a face mask from the back because they thought he got his they thought he got his face mask and it wasn't. He got him by the collar and took him down because we had moved Jaden. Remember, we'd moved him a nose guard. I mean, he played running back and some nose guard for us from linebacker.
Slash.
Yeah. And so, anyway, a lot of I could sit here and tell you story after story after story about some of those guys.
Oh, I know you could, and I'm thinking about.
They talk about the walking sticks. I mean, we talk about. I think about Matt Walking Stick. I never knew this story. We're out here in a scrimmage, and Matt goes up against the kid that ended up going to OSU. We're scrimmaging Sequoia out here. And, Matt had helped me move from Stillwell. He literally had come and helped me pack up my house. And there was this big grease board. And he wanted that grease board.
Yeah.
And I said, okay, take that grease board and head it down in his room.
Yeah. Big whiteboard.
Yes.
Put it in his room.
That's right, yeah.
Downstairs across. Yeah.
And so, and I do not remember this, but he told me like 2 weeks later. Evidently, I jumped him out here in a scrimmage because he got
an inside drill, possibly. Something. Yeah.
And he went in and wrote down every assignment he had on every play.
Yeah, I've seen that.
That's another thing that has an impact on you. A kid that wants to play that much, and then you take. I was telling you the other day, about the Gabe Eichert story. We go to McGinnis. He was a sophomore, And I tell you, the very first play, I said, let's find out how good he is, and let's run right at him. Let's find out what we're up against. And we run right at him, and man, Matt pins him, and Matt Mitchell goes whoop, and he's runs for 20 or 30 yards, and after that, the fight was on.
Yeah,
after that,
those are proud moments, believe you me. But, I'll tell you this, Coach. I never told you this before, but when it was confirmed that you were going to be able to get me hired at Sallisaw, and me and Matt knew the situation. Matt literally, he went off and he cried. He was so happy. Yeah, he's
really
told. Yeah, he's told me. No, he did, and his mom told me. I think Matt did too. But he literally was so happy with it that I was going to get to come to Sallisaw and coach.
Oh, dang! Never knew that story.
I know.
You never told me that.
I know. I never have. I almost have, but I just never had. And he was so happy. He went off and cried about it. And yeah.
But anyway.
Yeah, go ahead.
Well, so where do we go next?
I don't know, Coach. Well,
you've got a million notes written down.
No, I was talking about helicopters. This is the changing the subject. Let's think about helicopters. Have you ever been? Were we ever in the locker room in the dark? Saying the Lord's Prayer. You're talking. And here comes the helicopter coming in before the game. They're so loud. It's just an effect because it's quiet in there. That happened one time at Claremore. We was in a dark room at Claremore's Zebra Stadium. Helicopter comes in.
I don't know that I've ever.
I don't know.
Never paid attention.
And
to
then
that.
a buddy of ours, Brad Faro. The train that goes by the Panama football stadium.
Yeah.
Well, Brad was with Mike Hansinger at Wilburton.
Yeah.
And the ref, they were getting on the refs about something. The train starts going by, and Faro says that Mike Hansinger, the ref, told him one more word, and I'm throwing a flag. And Hansinger couldn't hear him. He said, "What?" Because of the train, and the ref threw the flag. That's a Faro story, And
I tell you, Brad's another. He's both of our mutual friends, and another guy that's retired, up in age like us, had a long-standing career.
We need to get him on here at some point.
That guy's been everywhere.
Oh, he's been a lot of places. And the Tristan Brown stories of the Brown Dozer that season.
Oh yeah,
in short yardage.
I don't know the stat on that. I had it, but he's Tristan scored. Tristan moved in from Muldrow and was a quarterback. And at the time, we had Quint and then, but they were two different quarterbacks. Quint was taller and a little bit more rangy, had a hand cannon, and Tristan was he was a little bit shorter. He was built, like me. He was a good game manager and so on and so forth. And, had a great career as a linebacker for us. But we put in a package for him on the goal line because we knew he wasn't going to screw it up. He was going to find a way to get us in the end zone. Plus, he was tougher than a $2 steak, and we could direct snap it to him and run behind Cale and Jaden and knock people backwards and get in the end zone. He's, another, had two quarterbacks at one time, so anyway.
That play was iron because we put names on our plays.
Yeah.
Power to the right was iron and
lead was to the left.
Lead was to the left. And Ace of Horse was the left guard pulling and swabbing.
Yeah.
Or Ace of Horse.
Yeah. And here's the other thing, you talk about that.
Young men that played.
That's funny that you bring that up because, I was talking to Freddie Watts.
Yeah.
And Freddie was talking about something. I can't remember what it was. And he was talking about, we ran that play off tackle. And I said, that's called 36 power. And he goes, yeah, that's exactly what it was. And he goes, and the inside was an isolation play called 32 blast.
Yes, sir.
So that started with Perry Lattimore. Perry Lattimore. It kept through with Dennis Rogers. Dennis Rogers kept the same terminology. And then Ron Etheridge kept the same terminology. And that ran all the way up until 1988.
Ronnie Asbel.
It went through a decade.
Yeah.
And if you go back and you talk about those kids that not only we played with, we know what the terminology was, but then you and I come up, Ron Lancaster had his terminology. Those players know that.
Yeah.
And then you turn around and you have our terminology that we had with our players, and they still know that as well.
Oh, yeah. Kids remember all the terminology. You remember all the terminology like I do of how you call formations and plays. every place you coached? Or have a good
Yeah,
idea?
I have a good idea.
Have a good idea.
Yeah.
You may be off a little bit on something, but
we were
for the
always,
most part.
we remember when we came in here, we were going to simplify everything.
Yeah.
We didn't want our kids to have to think. We weren't very smart either, me and you. So we had to make it as good enough that we could understand it.
Yeah.
And that they could too.
We went to Missouri that day,
Yeah.
that year, about Columbia, talking
Right.
about no huddle, about signaling and
Right.
and one word maybe. And I remember the surfboard. The offense coordinator had the surfboard in his office.
That's
and whatnot. Can't remember his name. Yost had the music Beach Boy.
Yeah.
And I remember that. And that's why we went to Missouri that
Right.
those 3 or 4 days.
That's true.
Learn that.
Because when we started out, I think when we first started here, we were still running plays in with someone. And then we went to a signaling program,
Yeah.
And
we figured Matt Overstreet might be able to run no huddle.
and he did.
And he could. And throw it around and run it and all that. And then be in, and then,
Yeah. We had one question tonight that was, what are the two that keep you up at night? And that's a great question. And I've got 2 of them. And 3, there's one that's a close third. But I think the one that really hurt me the most was Catoosa in 211. We were a 2. We had a really good team, and we had played a really tough schedule. We came in against Catoosa, and Catoosa had one of those teams that were just the stars lined up for them. And we take the first drive and we go 80 yards, and we score. And the official runs over to me and he goes, "Hey, I got 68 holding," and that was Glad. And Glad had pinned that guy up against the goalpost,
Yeah.
And so we move the ball back. We throw an interception the very next play, and then they get the ball at I think the 1, and they go 99 yards for a touchdown. And we end up losing 20-14, and that was to me, I thought that group should have made a deep run in the playoffs.
Yeah.
But the one that really gets me is McGinnis when we go down there in 208.
Yeah.
We're down 28-3 at half, and we go in at halftime, and they're really, McGinnis is just really good.
Yeah.
And we've got a good squad. But we're good on all 3 phases. And there's so many things about that game. We're taking the field in the second half, and you said to me, "We've got to do something different." And you called hitch and pitch very first play, and Matt Mitchell goes 80 yards, and and then all of a sudden we should watch this quarterback bloom. I mean, Matt Overstreet had to that point had been a game manager because he had so many people around him, and then he took over. I mean, I always say that it was one of those hold my beer moments.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And we watched him absolutely grow up overnight. And then we had so many people that were involved in that game that played such a big role. Kyle Underwood, we started pumping him the football from his fullback position, and he was tough. And then, we run that flood route and we take the lead with 1:59 left. And let me back up. We onside them before that series. And Carlos tees it up in the middle of the field, and we don't have any timeouts left. And they didn't know what we were doing, so McGinnis calls a timeout. Because I walked over to the official, and I go, "We don't have any timeouts left, do we?" And he goes, "No." He just looked over his shoulder, and he goes, "No, but this has been a heck of a game." And McGinnis called timeouts, and then we moved it over to the right hash, and we get the onside kick, and Overstreet throws the flood route for a touchdown. Now we're up. I think we were up 31-28, something like that. And we kick off to them, pin them at the 14, and they had that. And then that old name comes back to haunt us, Gabe Eichert,
Yeah.
And he takes they run a smash concept over there in our boundary, and they throw it over his shoulder and score and beat us. And here's the deal: I walked off the field, and Coach Etheridge said he spoke to me, and I don't even remember it.
Right.
I do not even remember that.
That was like 3 games rolled up into one.
Yeah.
To me, it was such an emotional game and mentally taxing but
just like that, that season was over. And we had a reunion with those guys, here last year.
April.
It was great, with we had Mefford was there, Derek Branham came in for it, Newt Scott, who who moved in from Stillwell
Yeah.
that I coached at Stillwell,
Yeah.
moved in. Dalton Leslie. There's a lot of names that I'm missing here. But anyway, we had,
Sanders was there.
That's right. Ty was. That's exactly right. Another one of those kids off of 2008 that we got a lot of mileage out of. A kid that played over his head every single week. And so, anyway, when you ask those kind of questions, that can uncover a lot of stones and a lot of memories.
Oh, a lot of great memories, all of them, and another great episode. Thank you for being here, and I guess we're going to wrap it up.
Is this episode 5?
It's episode 5. Pretty sure.
Between the Sticks.
Between the Sticks. My good friend, Craig Benson. I'm Lewis Walking Stick. And we'll see you next week. Thanks for watching.